Turning now to some breaking news out of Russia, where the bloodshed from the Ukraine war has now reached the front door of the Kremlin. Take a look at this video, which appears to show the assassination of Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, the head of Russia's chemical, radiological, and biological weapons unit, happening just miles from the Kremlin. Ukraine's security service claimed responsibility for the killing. The explosive device was planted in a scooter next to the entrance of a Moscow apartment building, and the blast killing both Kirillov and his assistant. NBC's Keir Simmons has the details. Keir.
Even the timing is dramatic. Just yesterday, Ukraine charged Lieutenant General Kirillov with war crimes. Today, they say they have killed him in Moscow. Russian media reporting a bomb was taped to the handle of a scooter. This morning in Moscow, a dramatic explosion, killing a key Russian general and his assistant. The blast so powerful, it blew the bricks from the walls. And the remains of a scooter. It was loaded with explosives, Ukraine says. An operation both audacious and precise, the bomb detonating as he moved between a building and a car. And Ukraine's most ambitious assassination, deep inside Russia since the war began. Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov was chief of the Russian Army's Chemical Weapons Division. He was sanctioned by the UK in October for the alleged use of chemical weapons in Ukraine. According to a Ukrainian security source briefed on the matter, Kirillov was an absolutely legitimate target since he gave orders to use prohibited chemical weapons against the Ukrainian military. Such an inglorious end awaits all who kill Ukrainians. The source asking for anonymity because they aren't authorized to discuss it publicly. Russian state television leading with news of the killing, saying the bomb was remotely operated. It comes as the war, started after Russia invaded Ukraine, enters its third year. Both sides still taking massive losses. Already, Russian investigators are calling the bombing an act of terrorism, but they will be under pressure to explain another high-profile assassination in the Russian capital. Kirillov was notorious for pushing disinformation against the West. The question now is not just what the Kremlin says, but what it does. Russia's most outspoken voices calling for the killing of Western officials.
Keir Simmons, thank you for that reporting. And joining us now is MSNBC military analyst, Lieutenant Colonel, or I should say retired Colonel Jack Jacobs. Thank you so much for joining us, Colonel. Are you surprised Ukraine was able to take out such a high-profile player and so close to the Kremlin?
No, not at all. They've done it before, not this high profile, but they've been working strenuously to eliminate people at the top of the food chain. What's really interesting is when you take a look at that video, you can see General Kirillov and an aide coming out of the building, and then the bomb is detonated. So it was clearly a command detonated bomb, which means not only was the scooter with the probably plastic explosive placed right in front of the building, but it was detonated by somebody who was probably right across the street or nearby. I could see the general coming out of the building and detonated it at will, which tells you a great deal about the infiltration of Moscow, the designation of specific people to assassinate, and so on. It's a campaign that will continue, Anna.
And interesting that Ukraine was so quick to take credit, right? What would you expect from Russia in response?
Well, they're working really hard to identify people in Ukraine to assassinate. They've been less successful than the Ukrainians have been. They're working extremely hard on the battlefield, and the Russians have been making some progress on the battlefield, both with and without the Koreans that whom they've employed. The thing we can expect from Russia certainly is public relations, a great deal of public relations. And we've already heard from them talking about how Western leaders are responsible, suggesting that Western leaders are responsible. But actual actions are going to be difficult to come by. And people in Ukraine, particularly the leadership, are very closely guarded, Anna.
Kirillov was just charged on Monday by Ukraine for using banned chemical weapons during Russia's invasion. We know he was a big player in Russia's propaganda apparatus. constantly spreading lies about Ukraine and America. And he once claimed the U.S., in fact, was planning to use drones designed to spread infected mosquitoes. And as the head of the biological weapons unit, he was accused of using a riot control gas against Ukrainian troops that caused extreme irritation and pain in the eyes and lungs. Just bigger picture here, Colonel, what does his death mean for the Russian war effort and Kremlin's overall goals, do you think?
Well, I think they're going to focus their attention on the battlefield. They are making progress, like I suggested. By the way, General Kirillov was also accused of using not just riot control agents, CS and CN, but also nitrochloroform, which was used in the First World War and is banned by the Chemical Weapons Treaty, to which Russia is a signatory. No, I think the Russians are going to continue to focus on the battlefield. They have larger numbers. They have of people. They have lots and lots of missiles, rockets, and artillery. And it's going to be difficult for the Ukrainians to keep resupplying what they need in order to defend. They've been losing some ground. The Russians understand this and will continue to press on the ground. But the disinformation campaign by the Russians will continue to try to separate Ukraine from its allies. And so far, that may, in fact, be successful. We'll see what comes up in that regard in the coming months, Anna.
Does this put Russia on its heels a little bit? And does Ukraine, by, again, claiming responsibility, is that them trying to send some kind of a powerful message?
Well, it's an interesting suggestion. It certainly makes people at the top of the food chain in Russia extremely wary of where they're going, what they're doing, and so on. It does give the Russians a very big black eye. There's been a series of events that have taken Russia by surprise. A lot of people might suggest that what this does is put Putin in trouble among the people who are at the top of the government in Russia, because it's clear that things are not going well inside the Kremlin. But we have to remember that Putin keeps all the people very close to him, keeps them extremely rich, and therefore keeps himself extremely safe, Anna.
Colonel Jack Jacobs, as always, we appreciate your insight and your expertise. Thank you.